sunny ways, my friends, sunny ways.
So the answer to that is to stop being stupid.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
We have recently switched to drinking water bottles out of when we have water bottles out of plastic. Away from plastic towards paper, like drink box water bottles, sort of thing.
Well, Lottie frickin' God!
You're ready to fight, aren't you? I can feel it!
I intend to resign as party leader, as prime minister.
Is this true?
Yes, it's true. This man has no dick.
Sorry?
The servicing costs on the debt that you're going to have to carry, that you're adding to now, right?
Interest rates are at historic lows, Glenn.
There's the funds.
On the topic, I mean, in terms of your sort of strategy currently, you're obviously taking the populist pathway.
What does that mean?
He's announcing a catalog, everybody! Hey, right on! Give him a round of applause! Come on, give him a round of applause! You can't afford a home. You might end up in a tent. Your rent is doubled, but hey, you've got a brand new catalog.
When I'm Prime Minister, I will keep my promises. Now, another promise, let me try again.
A lot of people would say that you're simply taking a page out of the Donald Trump book.
Like which people would say that?
Well, I'm sure a great many Canadians, but...
Like who?
I don't know who, but...
Well, you're the one who asked the question, so
yeah.
You must know somebody.
We need to trigger an axe the tax election as soon as possible.
We'll do it live. No, we'll do it live. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
Yeah, that's all that's coming off. There's nothing else coming off. Yeah, I'm not Justin Trudeau here.
Let's fucking go.
Let's fucking go.
Knockout.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Fringe. Welcome to Friday Night Fringe. Happy V-Day or VD Day, however you want to look at it. It's great to have you guys in here into the chat. Get those thumbs ups in there. I think it's going to be a little slower tonight because maybe people are out giving money to a commercial holiday. I don't know. Get those thumbs ups in there, chat. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you had a great week. If it's cold where you are, I hope you're nice and warm. As always, joining me tonight on the stream, the very beautiful Mrs. Fringe. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, great. It's always good to have you here. It's great to have you here on Valentine's Day, especially because now I'm not doing this on my own and looking like a desperate loser. So it's always fun to have you here.
Yeah.
Let's chime in, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get a roll call. Get those thumbs ups in there. Let me know where you're watching from. Let's see if we can get someone from every province in the country. And for our American viewers, let's see if we can get somebody from every state in the United States. It's not going to happen.
No.
But let's see. We'll get to everybody that we can, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go. We got Blackface Son of Castro with the LFGs coming in from Windsor, Nova Scotia. We got Vinyl Collector joining us once again from Prince Albert, Saskatchewan. Trudeau's Akami joining us from Calgary on his way to Sicamous. Welcome into the stream. It's great to have you here. Carol and Gerald are joining us once again from Calgary. Welcome in. Mystical jumping in from Mark Carney's basement. Send help. Better than Drake's basement,
Yeah.
but that's okay. Welcome into the stream. We got Georgina coming in from Ontario. We got Monica joining us from Montreal, Quebec. Welcome in. It's great to have you in here. Becca with the huge LFGs coming in from Lloyd, Alberta. Welcome in. Watching from Hopewell, Virginia tonight, though. Welcome
Wow.
in. It's great to have you here. Carson, El Gringo Grande, joining us from no VD, but he's in Porno Viagra. Welcome in. It's great to have you here. We got Francis coming in as well into the stream. Donovan, North Bay, Ontario. Welcome in. Chris Archer coming in from Saskatchewan. Nelson Cade, New Brunswick. What else do we got here? Greg with the happy VD Day. Welcome in. It's great to have you guys here. We got Ram Ryder coming in from London, Ontario. Cindy coming in from Chatham, Kent, Ontario. Welcome in.
Yukon Territory.
Mandria coming in from Yukon Territory. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. Welcome in. Lee joining us again from Leduc, Alberta. Welcome in. Chuck coming in from Florida. I'm jealous. Welcome into the stream. One of my favorite mods, Ingrid, coming in with her husband Charlie from Okotoks, Alberta. Great to have you in. We've got Kurt coming in from Saskatchewan. Callie Surfer Girl joining us, I believe, from Slurry, BC. Welcome in. It's J-Bye coming in from snowy Montreal as well. Welcome in. Tyler Watson from Sudbury. Lovable Linny coming in from BC. I love how that name's spelled out.
I do.
That's great. JL Bartman coming in from Manitoba. Mike from Ampere, Ontario. Goofy Boothy coming in from Calgary, Alberta. Luca joining us once again from Burnaby, BC. Debbie from Lloyd. Welcome in. We got Derek from Millbrook, Ontario. Mike from Victoria, BC. Jay joining us from Medicine Hat, Alberta. Gina from Saskatchewan. We got Amy coming in from Charlottetown, PEI. Welcome into all of you. Kenneth Jarvis coming in from South Dakota. Oh, he's coming in from Fargo, don't you know? Oh, yeah. No, I think that's North Dakota.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Welcome in. It's great to have you in here, Kenneth. We've got Maze coming in from Minnesota. Look at this. We're getting a lot of American viewers in here tonight. Love our American viewers. Viewers? I gotta say, I love our American viewers. They're fabulous.
Hasn't it been me that's had a few drinks tonight, not you?
Mrs. Fringe has already had a couple of drinks. I don't drink because I'm fabulous. I'm one of the best, believe me. Welcome into Claudia from Florida. We got David Brewer coming in from Springfield, Missouri in the USA. Welcome in. Trudeau Zakami in from Calgary. Krista coming in from Frozen. She's frozen in Moose Jaw. Welcome in. Mark coming in from Sacramento, California. We got Dilligaff Brothers Contracting from Slurry, BC as well. Welcome in. Louise from Outlook, Saskatchewan. Faye coming in from Cornwall, Ontario. Brian Watson from Prorogation Government might lose that. We'll see. We'll see. Brian, welcome in. I always want to say I'm lying in bed just like Brian Watson did. But I know that's not the song. MK Archives coming in from Stranded, Quebec City near the border. Guys, I got to get back into the stream. I saw Mike Freedom Honey. I see a lot of regulars hanging out in the chat, coming in, chiming in. We got to get on with tonight's stream. There's a lot to get in on. First off, I want to welcome Jody Peterson as a new member to the Patriots Club. Thank you so much for becoming a member. Welcome into the Patriots Club. You've now entered yourself into our monthly draw for the Patriots Club by supporting the channel at the end of every month. Last stream of every month, we do a draw. All members are included automatically. If your name is drawn, you get to select one item from our merch shop free of charge that we send your way as a thank you for supporting the channel. So welcome to the Patriots Club. Let's get into tonight's live stream, shall we? There is a lot.
There is.
To what's this blonde biker chick? Did you get an interview with Pierre yet? No. I won't be getting an interview with Pierre anytime soon. His party has stated they want to keep their distance from YouTubers. So as bad as I want to get in with Pierre, it's not going to happen anytime soon. North 49 RC with a $2 super chat. This is not the country I grew up in. I wholeheartedly agree. We're going to talk a lot about that tonight. We're going to try to keep it as positive as possible. It's a good day today, ladies and gents. We don't want to dwell too much. And with that, why don't we just transition straight into the memes? Why don't we segue straight to the memes?
Everybody's here for the memes.
You guys are here for the memes. You love the memes, don't you? Everybody loves good old memes. Not as many political memes coming in tonight, but some really funny ones at that I want to share with you guys tonight. This one, me, I don't know why I can't find a good job. Also me on my first day on the job. Driver tells to kids to go F themselves and then abandons a school bus at a gas station. I mean, this kind of sounds like where I'd be going if I was a school bus driver. I think
it wouldn't take long.
It'd be that or I'd turn into Chris Farley on, what is it, Billy Madison?
Yeah.
No yelling on the bus. Gotta love that. This meme was hilarious. Me watching people finally realize that the entire federal government was a money laundering scheme for politicians all along. Isn't that the truth? Matt and Andrea coming in with a $3.99 super sticker. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Let's check out this one. If you didn't flip out when Biden fired federal workers for not getting the jab, we really don't care what you think about Trump firing federal workers for not contributing anything. I mean, isn't that the truth?
Sorry, not sorry.
Sorry, not sorry. That's the way it goes. All there, no more signatures and a pronoun. None of that stuff going on. Glad to see Trump sticking up for Americans. I like this one. I need to get my life together, but I'm kind of waiting to see if the world is going to end before I put any real effort in. I don't know if these are really memes so much as reality right now, is it? This is crazy. This one I had to share because the Liberals put this out today for Valentine's Day.
They don't know how to meme.
The left can't meme. This one isn't even funny. Roses are red, violets are blue. My cuts would hurt Canadians just like you, from Pierre Poilievre. Isn't that the worst comedy you've ever seen? And they followed it up. Liberals are red, conservatives are blue, but only one of them cares about you. None of them. They care about your wallet. They care about your tax dollars. They don't care about us.
No.
Their whole Team Canada. We're going to get into that tonight. The left can't meme.
No.
While we're on the subject of the left can't meme, here's a real Valentine's Day card. I'd never let anyone steal your heart, just your car, from Justin Trudeau. That one, I really liked that one. Here's a good meme that you can only take one of these pills. A blue pill, eat old spinach. Black pill, balls caught in a lathe. Yellow pill, cattle go extinct. Red pill, Justin Trudeau's constant diarrhea for the rest of his life and shortly thereafter. I think I'd go with the red pill. I don't know about you guys.
I would definitely be taking the red pill. And if it should like double the amount every time somebody takes a red pill.
Every time somebody gets red pill, that's where it goes. It's Justin Trudeau and his explosive diarrhea. I would happily take it. Another end of memes tonight. I want to share some videos with you guys. Some good old comedy. Good old slapstick.
I've got
Mrs. Fringe needs to go break up a quarrel going on Valentine's Day. Let's get this video in full screen so you guys can get the gist of it. Here you go.
Well, it appears a man is recording and taking in the scenery here, the wrong kind of scenery. I thought he was actually trying to film the beach, but whatever. It looks like this was shot in 1963, possibly shot with a potato. But it appears this is the final minutes of this man's life. It's all over. Good night. And here they come, and by the looks of it, appears this man got sent straight into the depths of hell.
I mean, I found that one pretty funny. Mrs. Fringe thought it was hilarious. I thought it was a good one to share. If you're out on Valentine's Day, don't be filming other women. That's the message of this one. Make sure you're only filming your significant other. That being said, if you're walking alone on Valentine's Day, you might need some help with some self-defense classes. Let's take a look at these professionals who have some really good, it's in Spanish, but that's okay. No hablo español unless you're Carson. But hey, check out these welcomed self-defense tips for anybody who's out and around and wants to make sure they're protected in Canadian streets.
Cuando hay una punta al pecho, lo que voy a hacer es agarrar la punta de la pistola, torcerle el brazo. No. No tenés que. Y ahí le puedo sacar el palo, le puedo pegar. Lo hacemos. Dale. Tirás. Me sacuso. Bueno, espero que les sirvan nuestra técnica de defensa personal y gracias por seguirnos.
I mean, if you're out and around this Valentine's Day, these are great self-defense tips. Basically, just don't do what this guy did.
Or do what the other guy did.
Another meme I wanted to share in video format again this week. I saw somebody hitting it up in the chat before the stream. If you're following what's going on in the United States with Elon's Musk and the whole big balls situation, Elon completely trolling. Elon is the king of memes. He's the king of trolling. Changing his Twitter handle this week purposely so that the news would have to say it. He had a good laugh at the fact that they had to call out big balls and sexy Tesla. But this one, ladies and gentlemen, takes the cake. Let's go.
Now, the disruptor in chief, Elon Musk, who apparently has adopted the alias, at least he changed his social media handle to Harry Balls, tweeted this morning, democracy in America is being destroyed by judicial coup.
I mean, Elon temporarily changing his name to Harry Balls. I mean, Ron's saying, can we get a Big Balls t-shirt? I mean, I could maybe design something. We'll think of something. That being said, ladies and gents, those wrap up the memes for this week. But wait, as Billy Mays says, there's more. Make sure to hit those thumbs up. Let's see if we can set a viewer record while people are out enjoying themselves tonight.
Right?
Mrs. Fringe has a fun article. We usually try to find hilarious or off-the-cuff articles that really don't relate to politics. but maybe just make people either say WTF or have a good laugh.
This one
Mrs.
definitely
Fringe.
was a WTF one.
Mrs. Fringe found a really good WTF one this week, and I'm going to let her take it away. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Is it good? Okay, so Florida man's hands filled with cholesterol after eating 6 to 9 pounds of cheese and butter for months.
Hold on.
Yeah, you guys scroll down. A man in his 40s committed to the carnivore diet discovered the hard way that too much of a good thing can backfire. After 8 months of consuming up to 9 pounds of cheese daily, along with sticks of butter and additional fat in his meals, he ended up at the Tampa General Hospital with bizarre yellowish nodules forming on his palms, soles, and elbows. That would be really creepy.
Little nasty.
His extreme dietary habits led to the astronomical spike in cholesterol, surpassing 1,000 milligrams, over 5 times the recommended level. This alarming case, published in JAMA Cardiology by Dr. something, and his team highlights the risk of an unbalanced, high-fat diet taken to the extreme. That would definitely be.
Look at his hands.
An extreme. The diagnosis: cholesterol buildup under the skin. Doctors diagnose the patients with how would you say that? Xanthelasma?
Xanthelasma.
There you go. A condition where excess cholesterol accumulates under the skin, forming yellowish plaques. While this condition is often seen around the eyelids, in extreme cases, it can affect other areas of the body. Approximately 50% of cases
Xanthelasma
are linked to dangerously high cholesterol levels, which significantly increase the risk of heart disease and atherosclerosis. And once these growths appear, they don't just go away. They often require surgery or laser treatment, and they can return if cholesterol levels remain elevated. Wow.
Isn't that insane? So essentially this guy is going to look like he's got a Simpsons skin disorder for quite some time.
There is another picture on the top of his hands. Like, yeah.
Yeah, it's all outlined. It's really bizarre, kind of nasty. This is the reality of people who don't do their research before getting into things like the carnivore diet. And the carnivore diet, for the most part, is very good. In fact, a lot of people have called great success about it. In fact, one person who had really good things to say about the carnivore diet, of course, Dr. Jordan Peterson.
Him and his wife have been on it for a few years now, and they swear by it.
Jordan and Tammy Peterson. It's funny because when we were talking with him about it on Wednesday night at the Saddle Dome, he was saying that he cheats from time to time.
Yes,
which
is allowed.
It's okay to do. It's okay. It's not a problem. But the carnivore diet, if you do it properly, if you follow the rules, it's not as bad as what happens to this man. But all of these diets, the thing people don't realize about these diets is that once you're on them, you're essentially on them for life, because as soon as you go off, your body adapts. It changes.
Most diets are that way. I know what was the diet we were on?
Keto.
And a lot of people start to have carb deficiencies if they're on it for too long.
It's a little crazy.
Yeah.
Speaking of Jordan Peterson, for anybody who missed the post this week, of course, again, we were out at the Scotiabank Saddle Dome this week hanging out with Dr. Jordan Peterson by invite. He asked us to come to the show. We talked about this last week. Had an absolutely phenomenal show. Talked a lot, well, not a lot, but he had a segment where he touched down on Mark Carney, Canada, the future of Canada.
In the questions at the end, yes.
I want to talk about that to a certain degree. A little bit sad that Tammy Peterson wasn't there. It's always great to catch up with her, to chat with her.
But she was waiting the arrival of her 5th grandbaby.
Their 5th grandbaby's on the way. So Jordan's working away while his son is having their newest grandchild.
But it was interesting to hear from his brother, actually.
Yeah, Jordan's brother instead joined him on the stage during this tour. His brother Joel, amazing guy, had some really nice things to say about Dr. Peterson. And I want to get into what he did or what he was talking about. One of the things I want to showcase.
Derek had to stand on his tippy toes. I see a comment because I'm wearing heels and Jordan Peterson is quite tall.
Tiffany's wearing heels. Peterson's about 6'3". I know I'm short. I get it. I'm like Tom Cruise, fun size, but yeah, always a good time. Now, of course, Dr. Peterson with a copy of Just Axe the Tax, making sure it was signed before we left. Absolutely flattered to hang out with Dr. Peterson again. I know he watches the channel from time to time. Thank you for having us for catching up, and again, your friendship. I mean, this has been an absolute wild ride since everything took off for Unacceptable Fringe, and I can honestly say that meeting the acquaintance and continued friendship of not only Dr. Jordan Peterson but his wife Tammy has been an absolute blessing to us. To be surrounded by people so intellectual and that care so much, not just about Canada, but the well-being of general people. I think a lot of people, if they took the approach that Dr. Peterson has in life, I think this world would be a lot better place. But one of the things he was advertising during the show, or that he was talking about, that I wanted to share with you guys tonight, if you know the history of Jordan Peterson and why he's essentially packed up and moved to the United States, a lot of it had to do with the pushback of the College of Psychologists that came after Jordan Peterson to remove his license, essentially, to practice for saying nasty words about Justin Trudeau. This was censorship at its finest. Now, Dr. Peterson, of course, being struck from his university, takes time to look at the university structure. And we've all said a million times before that universities aren't what they used to be, that, of course, it's all just woke ideologies now. But Dr. Peterson, and this is something I didn't know prior to the show, it isn't something that Dr. Peterson had shared with me. He has founded his own university now, essentially an online university where he's bringing in the best of the best to teach people and get people certified in various subjects of psychology. Absolutely phenomenal. I want to showcase it because not only is it absolutely amazing to go to tutelage under the premise of Dr. Peterson and his colleagues, but it's a fraction of the cost of university. So with that said, ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look at what Dr. Peterson showed us before his show and just show you what he's got to offer.
Why did I decide to build an online university? Well,
there is a crisis now in higher education.
The president of Harvard University resigned today, weeks
Does
after
calling for the genocide of Jews violate Penn's code of conduct?
We have a problem of affordability and cost, spiraling student loans. We have a groupthink emerging, and that warps the entire academic enterprise.
I experimented with putting my lectures online and found that I could teach far more people at very low cost than I could at the university. And I thought, well, why not scale that? What I'm hoping to do is to find the best lectures in the world and to bring them to as wide as possible an audience.
He came to me and he basically said, I want you to do the best course that you've always wanted to do.
We want to bring you the highest quality education possible at the lowest possible price.
It's extremely high-level content that anybody can use to educate themselves, and it's available to everybody.
Well, that would be good. I think it's funny, because I got canceled at the university, so I could try to return the favor.
I love how he ends the video by saying, I got canceled at the university, so I thought I would return the favor. Absolutely mind-blowing. Now, not only does Dr. Peterson have this online university, but as a part of this university, he also has essentially, it's hang on, hey, there we go. He also has something similar to what Grammarly, if you've ever heard about Grammarly, that teaches you about word pronunciation and how to write essays and put papers together.
It was quite something.
Very
the
informative.
Process of it, very, very well done. Yeah.
Very informative. Now, of course, Dr. Peterson, as you see here, there's 34 plus 8-hour lectures available, 4 new college courses monthly being offered, world-class professors, intellectually driven community. Enroll now at $49 a month, billed annually. I mean, for $49 a month to get some form of an education, or at least take in this information and lecturism. Absolutely fantastic. Now, I'm just going to state on the channel that Dr. Peterson has not asked me to promote this. I just found it so interesting with the content that he described during his show, and the potential of the Peterson College, which now has over 2,000 enrolled students.
More than that.
Absolutely fantastic. I think that right now you would get a far better education listening to what these people have to say than you would at any other university. Well, one of the things Dr. Peterson talked about, one of the things he chimed in on, hang on, I thought I saw something in the comments there. I get, Okay, so rigor mortis saying nobody reads essays. I've been posting an excerpt from my recent one. I hardly get any traction. People want to be told. It's very frustrating. So I understand that, but for even somebody like myself as a content creator to use a program that could help drive a script together to make it more engaging for people. I mean, people often say, "Hey, Derek, you babble too much." Well, something like that could be useful for anybody trying to put speeches together or any kind of content, things like that. Anyways, again, just wanted to touch on how great I think that is. During that show, Dr. Peterson was asked about the current state of politics. He was talking about the state of Alberta. He was talking about Canada as a whole. What was really funny about the thing that he opened up with was his exact words were, "If you think Justin Trudeau is bad, just wait until you get Mark Carney." Now, I've been saying it in this week's videos since that show that he's very boldly stated that what you have to realize about Justin Trudeau is he's a follower. He takes orders from places like the World Economic Forum, Klaus Schwab, from Mark Carney. He says Trudeau's always been a follower, but Mark Carney, this is a leader. This is a man hell bent on the destruction of our economy, of our country. He knows darn well what he's going to do once he gets his mitts on our country. We've showed Liz Truss talking about the damage he did during Brexit in the UK that they still, by the way, haven't bounced back from. And the reality right now, we've done a video this week talking about the fake polls that are out, the Ecos polls that are being paid. The problem with the government sinking money into promoting fake polls is that the older generation, or what they call the boomer generation, as well as the younger generation that still pay attention to mainstream media, are easily manipulated. Once you repeat, things become programmed into your mind in terms of propaganda. That if people are under the belief that the liberals are coming back, the liberals are gaining points, the reality is, and one thing that Dr. Peterson touched on, is a lot of the voters in the Toronto area, in and around Toronto and Ottawa, will forgive Trudeau's government because of Mark Carney being installed and coming in. And the reality of Mark Carney becoming the next Prime Minister of Canada, if we don't do our due diligence, is very frighteningly scary. If you've looked at the polls, and it's, again, I showed it in one of our videos this week, Pierre Poilievre is starting to drop in points. A lot of that is because he's not getting behind Donald Trump. He's instead opposing Trump, which is not helping him in his polling. I personally think, again, we don't want to make it doom and gloom. But
Friday is for happy.
I think what Pierre needs to do, I think what could be beneficial for Pierre at this point, is to truly study his voters, understand what they're looking for, and drop the slogans and start making a push for the things that Donald Trump is talking about. Not just burning down the trade barriers within our country, not just axing the tax. Again, the slogans can go right out the window. We've heard them a million times. We're done with them.
And a lot of people are, yeah.
We want hard, aggressive Pierre, who's willing to say whatever he thinks he should say without filtering himself. Whoever's in charge of his campaign should back off.
They're not doing
a good job right now. John saying they're gaining ground. Yeah. Yes, they are. We have what we have here is an opportunity over the next few weeks before this. I know things changed in the trial for proroguement. I know Trudeau has been found that he can't prorogue Parliament. It's going to be interesting to see what comes of that. But as soon as this ends, as soon as Parliament has to go back, Jagmeet Singh has already come out dressing it up that he's going to flip-flop once again, saying, hey, we got a few weeks for you guys to give me what I want, or else I'll vote in favor of an election. I don't think it's going to matter at this point. Mark Carney is going to be installed. A lot of people are saying right now, well, how can a guy who's not an MP get elected as prime minister without running for a riding, without having a seat? It is possible. There's an explanation for that. I'll go over that in tonight's show for you guys so that you understand why he's allowed to run for prime minister. In terms of the information he's being given, well, again, a source came to me saying that what they've been told is that because Mark Carney was hired on by the Liberals and he went through privy, he is now has access to that information. They're allowed to share it. Again, I disagree with them sharing that information with him as not being an elected official. I don't think it's right. But the sad reality is that the divisiveness that's being drawn in the country, and we've talked about this before, it comes to one of the things I wanted to share that the Western Standard put out this week, because it's one of the things that Dr. Peterson touched on during his show. And that's, if you look at this article here, I'll change the camera up a bit here so you can see it a little bit more clear. Revealed Alberta now is more separatist than Quebec. This is by statistics. When you talk about Team Canada, when you talk about the repetition of Trump, 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 bad Trump, orange man bad, we're going to fight Trump. I seen somebody in the comments saying it earlier, buy Canadian. I'm going to buy what I buy. I'm not going to be divided by Justin Trudeau. I'm not going to harm my neighbors to the south because my government wants to go to a pissing contest. We are not their lemmings or their sheep to do their bidding because they're the ones that got us into this trade war in the first place. We didn't do this. They did. By opening our borders, by allowing this madness to flow into our country, by doing nothing about it. They've ultimately ended up in a position now where they're being told, clean up your act or pay the price, and they'd rather fight than do what's best for the country and clean up the mess. But you've now got an article coming out saying that there's more divisiveness and separatist movements in Alberta than there are in Quebec. I mean, Celtic Canuck, real good friend of the channel, says, I say they were pushed into it. We had no choice. I mean, when you go down and look at the comments, here's door number 1, door number 2, or door number 3. Those are the only paths forward. Of course, one of them is a free and clear Western Canada, a Republic of Alberta, or a 51st state. People are time to leave. Like, it's overwhelming. Not that I agree with the rhetoric.
No.
But this is what I warned everybody about with the whole Danielle Smith is bad. The rest of us premiers are doing our job. We're all chipping in. We're all in this together. Team Canada. The divisive. This is what Trudeau's best at. This is what he's been best at for 10 years.
He's been dividing Canada for 9 years.
It's going to sow mass division in Alberta. And what I worry about, what I potentially worry about is, let's talk about a chaotic future where Mark Carney becomes the prime minister, where let's say the votes come back in Ontario, in Toronto, and in and around Ottawa, Eastern Quebec. The votes come in for the Liberals because Mark Carney promises them the world. Mark Carney becomes the next prime minister on a 4-year mandate. I can tell you right now, separatism in Alberta will reach an all-time high. You will see Albertans begging Danielle Smith to either separate Alberta into its own country or to join the United States. And it's not because they don't love their country. It's because they want out. They don't see another way forward. And the problem isn't just Alberta. Once Alberta does this, you're going to see other provinces follow suit. This could be the end of Confederacy for Canada. And I'm not talking about joining the United States. The turmoil, the deconstruction of our country is at hand if we're not prepared to fight for it. This is why I say to everybody who always says, my vote doesn't matter, I don't know why I'm going to bother. The small pocket of Ontario controls who runs the House of Commons anyways. You're to do your due diligence and run your vote. If you love your country, you should always get out there and put your name on a piece of paper, even if you think it's useless. Because at the end of the day, it says that you care about what happens to your country. I shudder to think about, and in fact, I was talking with some colleagues today, because they asked me, what's the reality, do you think, of Mark Carney winning this? Honestly, while they're promising a form of UBI for a trade war so that they can call an emergency. I mean, you had Mark Carney coming out this week talking about using emergency measures to go against Donald Trump. What emergency measures are needed when all they're asking us to do is clean up our border?
Yeah. Which we should be doing.
It's very disheartening to see the booing that's going on at sporting events, to see woke Canadians treating our American brothers like garbage because of the situation that our government has put us in. It shows who the sheep are. It shows just how easily they're manipulated, just like during the COOF. You guys remember that? I mean, it wasn't too long ago. People turned on each other. Family members hated each other. People cut off relationships. People stopped talking to family members altogether and said, "No, if you don't get on board because the government scared me, you're a bad person." This is what they're good at. And the sad part is, Canadians are falling for it. They're falling for it all over again. I've always said push back, push back. People say, push back with facts. And people say, look, you're naive. You believe in government. You believe in a resolution that doesn't revolve around a civil war. But what I'm saying is that what we need to start doing is stop saying separate. And what we need to start asking is how do we fix this? How do we rid ourselves of this tyrannical government? How do we rise up? How do we get above this? How do we ensure this doesn't come to pass? When you look at Mark Carney and the traction that he's gaining, when you look at the reality of him coming in, does this channel's idea of everybody getting liberal memberships and voting for anybody but Mark Carney seem like a stupid idea now? While people said it's election interference, while people said, oh, it's against our moral code. When you think about the possibility of a future of Mark Carney, does that idea seem so stupid now? I mean, we have to do something.
So what can we do before the vote, though?
What I feel needs to happen before this vote is any political parties that want to maintain their leads, like the Conservatives, look, we're prorogued right now. They need to get out double time. They need to hold rallies. They need to get people informed. Pierre needs to show what he's done already by the interprovincial trade issues. He needs to show finances, statistics. He needs to push to work with Donald Trump, not to fight him.
Yeah.
He has to push to say, I agree with Trump's policies. I agree our border is dismayed. I agree we have massive problems with crime in this country. Pierre Poilievre keeps saying, I want to deport a percentage of migrants and temporary foreign workers. He needs to do what Donald Trump did if he wants Canadians to vote for him and say, I'm going to get rid of them all. I'm going to clean up this mess. Your streets will not be riddled with crime anymore. Not just jail. The problem when we put these criminals in jail is the taxpayer still pays for 3 meals a day for them. We're still on the hook for them. Get them out of here. I want a street sweeper going through, picking them up and taking them to the airport.
Well, they should be brought back to their own country if they're doing things illegal and being in jail. They should go back to their jail where their country pays for it.
If you're talking about, I don't know what this is, fixing the border. I think that's supposed to be if you're talking to Quebec about fixing the border. Why are you effing stupid? Look, if everybody just wants to throw up their hands and give up their country, I got sour news for anybody who says I don't want it to go to the United States. You're giving it to bureaucracy. You're giving it to bureaucratic globalists. There's 3 options here. We stand up and fix our country. We get out there and do everything we can to ensure that this hedonistic devil is not in charge of our country. Or we give up and let it go to them, or we give up and let it go to the United States. Those are our 3 options. So people who say, well, I don't want to become a 51st state. Okay, I agree. I understand your argument. But then why don't you want us to become better? Why don't you want us to be the best we can be? This was the argument I had when we started saying, let's vote for the worst candidate out of the Liberals so that Pierre can at least clean it up.
Yeah, and then they booted him out.
Well, they booted out
Ajay or whatever his name was.
Yeah, they started kicking out candidates, but now that we talk about people like Ruby Dalla, I said, well, why don't we put our votes on Ruby Dalla? But you had this smear campaign saying that all these channels, the CBC called it out against Tamara Leach, saying that she's jumping on board with the idea of getting Liberal memberships because they were free, that we're trying to rig an election. There's nothing rigging about an election to be in charge of deciding who's going to represent a party.
Yeah.
You have the right to vote
rigging.
it in. As long as you don't have a membership to another party, there's nothing illegal about it.
No.
It's part of our rights as Canadians. We're allowed to do that with any party so long as we're not currently holding membership with another. And all we said was, let's get enough people together to ensure that that vote comes in favor of anybody but Mark Carney. And now it's looking more than ever that Mark Carney is going to be installed.
Of course.
And when he's installed, because it's coming, I want you to ask all those channels that said this was a bad idea how they feel about letting their country go down the toilet when they could have helped push this out, when they could have jumped on board and been a team player. And this has nothing to do with clout. It has nothing to do with saying, hey, I had the idea first, I wanted the credit. It has to do with the future of our country. If you really cared about our country, shouldn't we be doing anything we can to ensure it goes forward positively? That we rid ourselves of this cancer, this dictatorship that runs over us? It's no longer about politics at the table. And that's what Elon Musk stated this week when talking about Doge.
God, I want Doge here.
We all want Doge here. When you have a bureaucracy, you can't have a democracy. It's one or the other. So by ridding the bureaucracy, you're putting hands back into the people, or power back to the people to run a democracy. It's voted on by the people. The people have the ultimate say. So why can't we do that in Canada? Why are people blacklisted for saying we need to take back our country? We're not talking about I don't like the left or I don't like the red versus blue or whatever it is. We're talking about ridding ourselves of a mob, a corrupt mob that has stolen from us, that continues to steal from us. If you watch this morning's video, $500 million being doled out and laundered to gender studies in Asia and South America. They're laundering our money. And people want to say it's not democratic to get a membership, to vote for any candidate that's not this person who's going to make it worse. You're protecting your country. Carson, $5 super chat. Can all of Carney's competitors drop out in order to install him? Is that what's happening? That's a very good question.
I thought the same thing.
Potentially, I talked about this before, and I said that Chrystia Freeland, who's connected to Mark Carney through a godchild, was essentially running on a no-nonsense campaign. She's not going to get anywhere with her vote. And she can always concede to Carney. Karina Gould was running to prop up Carney. So potentially, yes, they could all drop out. Ruby Dalla is not going to drop out to prop up Carney. But essentially, yes, they could. As far as I know. Again, I'm not 100% on the Liberals' rules within their parties.
Why? Like, I know in the U.S. you have to be born U.S. to become president. Why don't we have that same law here?
Well, because
to be prime minister.
I believe a lot of it has to do with the fact that we're managed by the crown, and the laws that were put in place at that time. I could be wrong. Again, I'm just making an assumption. God, I can't even get my words out tonight. I'm so frazzled by what's going on. You thought Canada was a democracy, a free country? No. Thank you
It
for
once was.
for the laughing and the mockery. I'm glad people can laugh at a time when our country's going down the toilet. No, I'm saying our country is currently a bureaucracy, and you can't have a democracy while there's a bureaucracy running a dictatorship in our country. That you need to rid that bureaucracy. This is where people talk about a uniparty. The uniparty is essentially the mob. It's a bureaucracy. What you have to do is give power back to people. You have to have recall legislation. You have to have better rules in place that people like Jagmeet Singh can't hold the country hostage if Canadians want an election. You have to change the rules. You have to change the laws so that it becomes a democracy again and power comes back to people. That's what Donald Trump is doing right now in the United States. He's defending his country. He's changing the laws to benefit its citizens, not his pockets, not his bank account. While all of our MPs, including Conservatives, by the way, are taking a pay raise in less than 3 months.
Well, our carbon tax goes up.
While our carbon tax
Same
goes
pay.
up 20%. I want to remind everybody that Donald Trump isn't taking a paycheck throughout his tenure as president. And he's not taking his pension either. I can't understand why Canadians are still being so polite when it comes to the corruption that goes on in our country. I'm not talking about the viewers on this channel. I'm talking as a collective. When you look at the fact that day after day after day on this channel, on every political channel, people are always talking about, look at this money getting given out. Look at the waste over here. Look at this new scandal. Look at them shutting down Parliament. Jagmeet Singh, oh, all he cares about workers. Let's print more billions of dollars to give people UBI. All these things, all these crooked policies, and people just sit and allow it to continue.
What are our options, though?
Well, it's hard to say, really. It's hard to say. Again,
yeah, we all want to do something about it. We don't want to sit back and watch this country go to hell. Like,
when you had 3 years ago, when you had the Freedom Convoy, which by the way, today was Emergency Act Day, or as I call it, the Valentine's Day Massacre. 3 years ago today, Canadians were fed up to the point where they said, we're going in masses. We're doing whatever we can to take back what's ours. And while the Freedom Convoy was villainized, they still patriotically stood up for this country in mass. They organized, maybe not to the best of their ability because it was very quickly put together. But what's happening now? Why there is no effort from anywhere for people to try and push back, to try and speak out against the corruption? Why there aren't people flooding streets with signs right now? There's Hamas supporters still screaming, even though essentially things have come to an end over there. But there's no Canadians out in the street saying enough of this government. Jody Peterson gifting 10 unacceptable Fringe Patriots Club memberships. Thank you so much for that. Welcome to all 10 new of our Patriots. Gwen Avery with $5 super chat. Ruby will steal you blind too. Please, she refused to pay her nanny and housekeeper. Okay, but she didn't steal $500 million. And I'm not propping up Ruby Dalla. No. What I'm saying is that Ruby Dalla couldn't run against Pierre Poilievre like Mark Carney can. That's what we're talking about here. If you put Mark Carney against Pierre Poilievre, there's a very good chance that the woke left, it's the same thing I'm pointing out about Doug Ford. Trump, 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 Trump. The left hate Trump. And Toronto is one of the most woke capital cities on the planet. I showcased this week a tweet showing that there's billboards in Toronto saying, buy cheese strings that's 0% American cheese. They're jumping on this buy Canadian shit. When you go into Loblaws in Eastern Canada, I haven't seen it here yet, although I don't get out that often. But I haven't seen it here yet in the stores with all the stickers saying buy Canadian. This is Canadian. This is Canadian. It's just like the pandemic. buy our indoctrination, buy into our rhetoric. You have to realize that them telling you to buy Canadian, all these stores jumping on board, it has nothing to do with the trade war. This is indoctrination to divide. Retailers, some retailers like Loblaws, government contractors, they all stand to benefit from a trade war. The only people that are going to suffer in this trade war are consumers and employees. Middle class, lower class, they're going to suffer. The government is prepared to run this country into the ground because it doesn't bother them. It doesn't affect them. It doesn't affect their bottom line.
No.
The status quo is in their favor. Mark Carney is still holding rallies talking about climate initiatives. He doesn't even talk about the border. All he's talked about with the border is that he's going to get emergency powers. If you thought Justin Trudeau abused emergency powers, what do you think Mark Carney's going to look like? He's Trudeau on steroids.
Yeah.
And all they have to do to get those votes, and I'm trying to be real here, while people say, Derek, it's always negative, it's always doom and gloom. I'm trying to be realistic here. That when you look at it statistically, when you look at who decides who runs this country in Southern Ontario, the majority of them are woke and they dislike Donald Trump. They got the ultimate card in their back pocket for the Liberals to go in now and just say Trump. And that 5-letter word is going to win them the next election, because all those people aren't going to think about carbon tax anymore. They're not going to think about.
No, because they're more stressed about these tariffs, and we're going to go to war with the
We're going to go to war. We're going to buy Canadian. We're going to jump on board. They did this during the last election with the coup, where it was all run on fear.
But the U.S. did it too after 9/11.
There you go. Trudeau's a commie. Thank you for the super chat. I'd buy Canadian if we had anything worth buying.
Well, that's just it.
There you go.
There's only so much Canadian and so much local that you can buy, and then what? I know a lot of people who are planning on doing their own gardens and growing their own food and stuff this year, buying from local farmers.
Doom and gloom is when you don't fight for your country. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Derek's getting people to be motivated. Wake the F up.
Yep.
Get in the fight or else you'll be little slaves. I couldn't agree more. Thank you for the compliment. But what I'm shocked at is that all these other channels that cover politics aren't talking about this. They're not talking about the reality because they don't want their views and clicks to go down. At least that's what I'm assuming. I don't know. I don't know why this isn't on everybody's radar to say we have to be vigilant. We have to be worried. We have to be on point. We have to be informed.
Wake up.
I can't count how many videos I read the comments and see, I'm not going to vote. It's not worth my time. Who cares? Nothing's going to change. With those kind of attitudes, no, it's not. And I know what people say again, Derek, you're naive. You believe in government. You believe in a future. I believe in a red and white flag with a maple leaf. That's what I believe in. I believe in my country. I believe that there's good people here. There's people here just like the almost 1,000 viewers we have in this live stream that care about the future of their country, the future for their children, their grandchildren, their friends, their families, that say, I'm not putting up with this anymore. I'll tell you right now, as a YouTuber, I would rather see Pierre Poilievre come into power, wipe this country clean, or at least as clean as he promises, and have my views go down the toilet because there's no more bitching about liberals, and see this country heal, than watch Mark Carney come in so I can get my views and my clicks. Anybody who wants to make lighthearted jokes out of what's happening right now doesn't care about this country. Every single person who's been blessed with a platform on this social media site should be pushing everyone to get motivated, to get out, to get active, to do something. We're about to lose our country. I mean, where is it? I know it's Troll Finder. We don't care about Canada. That's the impression I get. Mike with a $5 super chat. Carney gets in and prolongs the election. I can almost guarantee a revolution. But why isn't there one now?
Yeah, why do we have to wait for him to come in and make things worse? He's going to prolong. He's going to make the vote not until next year. There's going to be a reason for it.
He's going to bend this country over and jam it up our tailpipe without even spitting or giving us lube.
No.
This guy is going to destroy Canada.
And not even think twice about it.
And it's not even fear-mongering at this point. He already did it to Britain. He did it to Britain.
He knows what he's doing.
It's... You guys... snatch so much for positivity. It's... Look.
Happy Friday!
I guess what it is that when people say to me, you want to see Alberta become the 51st state, you want to be part of America. Here's the problem. You ever see that meme where the guy is walking with his girlfriend and he looks behind him at the other girl? America's walking past. And when I go down to America with my wife and my kids on vacation, and we see everybody with their flags out and people that put their hand over their heart and they pledge allegiance to their country. They love their country. They stand behind their country. They would die for their country. They wouldn't allow.
There are a lot of Canadians that would too. We just don't know how.
The problem with Canada is it's been invaded already.
Yes, definitely.
The invasion's already here. But those who live here say, well, it's already done, so what's the point? When you look at the patriotism that comes from America, when you see the wake-up call that's coming through to America right now. Like, what people don't realize is that it's not just 4 years of Trump. With what they're about to expose, it's going to change America past Trump's tenure. They're not going to be able to get away with the things that they got away with prior. Because it's about to be thrown out there black and white for everyone to see. No redacted documents. Full transparency. When I look at that, and when I look at so many people in America getting excited behind their country, I'm sitting here saying, where's that in Canada?
Bring Doge. We need
everybody
balls and big balls. We need them over here.
While everybody sits back and says, well, I guess we'll see what happens when Mark Carney gets in.
No.
You want to ask then if I want to go to America? I'll go anywhere if it means I'm not going to have my livelihood destroyed. I'm not going to have my property devalued. I'm not going to have my
Seek
job.
asylum somewhere.
I'm not going to have my job thrown out the window or people getting fired everywhere, losing their livelihoods. Akutsi Link becoming a new member of the Patriots Club. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for re-upping in the Patriots Club. I just want to see Canadians care. Because I can assure you, anytime I drive with my family through the Rocky Mountains, anytime I see what this country really looks like, when I see the people behind this country, when I turned on my TV 3 years ago today and saw truckers defending our rights.
Oh, and everybody out there cheering them on and waving them through. It was beautiful.
Refusing to back down to tyranny. That's my Canada. That's my country.
Everybody coming together again.
I remember looking at the TV during that convoy and saying, oh my God, that's the country I used to love. That used to be so vibrant, that used to stand behind it. This country is one of the most beautiful countries in the world. We have prairies, we have mountains, we have a gorgeous coastline. We've got maritimes, we've got everything here that we could possibly want. And we could be an economic powerhouse. We have to rid ourselves of these pigs at a trough that are trying so hard to line their pockets while destroying our livelihoods. The time has come for true patriots to stand up for their country and say that they're willing to do whatever it takes. Which is exactly why when other channels were saying that I'm interfering in elections, or the pleb is interfering in elections, or Tamara Leach is interfering in elections by getting liberal memberships, go fuck yourself. Pardon my French. We give a damn about what happens to this country. And any channel that wants to tout that kind of bullshit, as far as I'm concerned, doesn't give a damn about the future of this country. They care about being right. They care about their views, their clicks, and the money that's coming into their account. I can guarantee you that. Because if they really cared about their country, they'd do more than going door knocking and signing petitions. Mad Dog Tradesman, $6.99 Super Chat. PP needs to take lessons from Smith. We should be able to make citizens arrests of all politicians and let it be sorted out. I agree.
He needs to find his balls again.
I'd like Pierre to start telling his campaign managers, I got it. Okay? I got it.
He got himself there in the first place. Let him do what he does best. He knows what he's doing. Just let him do it.
I liked Pierre long before he had a team managing his future.
Oh, yes.
When he spoke from the heart, when he knew what he was doing.
When he came back with the quirks and stuff. That's what I loved about Pierre. He just said it how it was.
I still like Pierre, don't get me wrong.
Yes, I love him too, but he needs to get his balls back. I mean, Danielle Smith is out there doing whatever she can, and she zero fucks. She does not care. She's fighting for our country. She's fighting for our province, and she's just doing it. She's not asking permission or waiting to see what everybody else is doing first.
Reg with a $5 super chat. Just think of what Alberta could do if Canada and our oil and coal and minerals were open to sell to the world. Jordan Peterson brought this up during his show. He says, when you look at what happened with the LNG deal with
China,
with Japan, he said that just cost every Canadian $250,000
each.
Do you guys know that?
Each person, every person in Canada.
$1 trillion deal that we just brushed off and said no big deal. While Justin Trudeau's also hiding $500 million
that they just signed with the U.S. and Germany.
Well, Germany's coming.
For the same thing.
Peterson said Germany's coming next, and they'll get another deal.
They'll get it denied, just the same.
They'll get another deal with America. Gwen Avery, $2 super chat. Love you guys. I agree 99% of all you say. That's good. Don't ever agree 100%. You know what? I love that comment. You should never agree 100% with anybody.
Yes. No.
I love that comment. Thank you so much for the super chat. I think that what we need to do as a country and what Pierre needs to do is we need big balls. We need Pierre to start strutting and showing that he's got them.
Yeah. Because right now he's just sitting waiting for permission.
The time for shaking hands and kissing babies is over.
Done.
It's gone.
He needs to fight.
If you want to win this election, Pierre, and again, I know his people watch this channel. I know he watches this channel sometimes. I've spoken with his assistant many times. Got him on speed dial. I can tell you right now. I can tell you right now, when you're watching this stream, you need to fight for this country the same as the rest of us do, or you're not going to get office. You can take that to the bank, good sir. Either start stepping up for Canada, ditch the slogans, and get your shit together before this vote comes through, or you're going to lose out. And Canada is doomed.
We need balls right now. Like, we need somebody who's going to be able to fight for us because we're losing.
So somebody said, I saw it here. Tell his assistant then all this that you were saying here. I have.
Yeah.
I have. This is part of the reason they won't come on the channel for an interview, because I'm not going to softball questions. I'm not going to be nice to Pierre. I've sat at dinner with the guy and we had very good conversations, but they're conversations he wouldn't have with me on the internet.
No.
Because he's not allowed to express himself the way he would like to.
Has to ask permission.
This is why I question other channels that so easily get conservative members on there when Pierre tightens the leash and says, you're not allowed to speak freely. Who's padding their pockets? What we need is for these politicians to start going on YouTube channels, to start reaching out to the people that are actually casting their ballots, not the CBC, not small little podcasts to help out friends or things like that. They need to go on actual channels. It doesn't have to be this one, but go on channels and be unchained and be willing to take the tough questions.
Because people are coming to these channels for the truth. They're not going to pay TV for it.
$5 from Nilok. PP disappointed me this week when he said that tariffs are unjustified. As this drags on, it shows the government needs reform, move away from Westminster. I agree. $2 super chat. Trudeau's a commie. PP needs to show his anger.
Yes, he does. Get mad. We're mad. Get mad.
He needs to be mad with us.
Yes.
He needs. This is his chance. You want a slogan, Pierre? I'm as mad as the rest of you. Like, start showing that. Start saying, I might put on a suit all day. I might go to Parliament Hill when we're actually working as a government.
Right.
I might be a representative of the House of Commons, but I'm a Canadian citizen. The rest is all of you. And I'm sick and tired of this shit, and I'm not going to take it anymore. That's what you do. And I guarantee you, every patriotic Canadian would rally behind that.
Yes.
Mark Carney wouldn't stand a chance. Sherry Bailey with $7 super chat. Many back east just think he's a mouth like Trump when he speaks his mind. They have TDS. I left a message at his office to ditch the slogans.
Yeah.
Thank you for leaving that message. They
Oh.
all have Trump derangement syndrome. And what we've seen with Trump derangement syndrome is that it never works out for those who carry it. That's why they call it the Trump effect. If you think about this, if Pierre came out tomorrow and said, I will fight to undo all the wrongs that this government has done over the last 10 years. No slogans. I'm done with the slogans. I will change every wrong they've put in place, and I will fight for this country. I'll deport everybody who shouldn't be here. I'll bring jobs back to this country. We'll end this trade war. We'll fix our border. We'll get rid of the illegal substances. We'll get rid of the crime. I am going to build this country to its former glory and ensure its financial prosperity moving forward, come hell or high water.
Derek for PM.
Get that guy in office. And I'll trust him until he shows me otherwise. I've said time and time again, because somebody called me out this week for supporting Danielle Smith, saying, oh, you back her, you treat her with all, you put her up on a pedestal. No, I approve of Danielle Smith, and I respect Danielle Smith.
And you've called her out.
I've called her out when the time comes. But until she does something worth being called out for, I'm going to support her.
Yeah.
Because she's the best thing Canada has right now, and she's doing a damn good job.
Yeah.
Anybody who says Danielle Smith is part of the WEF, somebody called me out on that this week. She's WEF. What makes you say that? And all they said was just listen to her. That doesn't mean she's part of the WEF. This is the problem with people, is they just throw this shit out there and they don't have anything to back it up. They just want to put on their tinfoil hats and say, oh, I know best. I know everything about the government.
But it's not even that. They hear a small rumor. They stick with it. It's truth. It's not truth until you have proof behind it.
It's Smith should be PM, says Amy. I don't want to share her with you guys. I'm sorry.
Well, you know
Let's get another Danielle Smith.
She's our good option.
She is a good option, but for right now, I need her in Alberta. Because I'll tell you what, if those woke sheep in Toronto want to vote in Mark Carney, we're going to need Danielle here to ensure that the rest of us don't lose our shirts. Jody Peterson, another $5 super chat. New slogan, we're mad as hell and we're not going to take it anymore. I mean, it's a common slogan, but I fully agree. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. John Boko saying, can we trade? No, no. Look, I've said it before. I'll say it again. I have nothing against people in Ontario. I have nothing against people in Quebec. What I have a problem with is the bureaucracy and the thieves that are residing in our government, that are out to destroy my bank account, your bank account, our investments, our future, our minerals, our oil, our gas, our agriculture, our livelihoods, our homes. I have a problem with fat pigs that come in and try to take over what's rightfully ours so that they can go and get their pensions and live the high life while the rest of us are a battery farm for them and suffer. I'm not on board for that. So when I criticize Ontario, when I criticize Quebec, I'm criticizing their governments, not their people. In the case of Quebec, I'm criticizing their separatists as well, because they're not doing us any favor. But there's good people in this country that care. The problem is our electoral system excludes them from having any kind of power when it comes to elections. You guys remember Justin Trudeau running on election reform, saying he's going to change it? He's going to refocus our electoral votes. Never did. You know why? Because he wouldn't have got reelected. No politician, including Pierre, will ever reform our electoral system because it works for them. It's the same thing I always say when they ask for extra power, when they ask to amend certain bills and get a little bit of extra power from the people, it's to benefit them. The next time a Conservative MP comes to your door or sends you a text message, ask them about electoral reform. Ask them if they're willing to change the rules if they have a majority government so that we have more power when it comes to the votes. Maybe ask about recall legislation. Lee with a $2 super chat. Pierre needs to talk to bloggers to reach the younger audience. Donald Trump won the young vote by listening to his son. He got out there and he went on podcasts. He went on Theo Vaughn. He went on all these other podcasts that did wonders for him.
Yep.
Because he was able to sit down and talk to the youth and say, look, Joe Biden's, he just got out of diapers. Some of you got out of diapers recently. Joe Biden's still in diapers, pooping his pants. It's not good. Sleepy Joe is ruining your country. We want to fix the country. We want to drain the swamp. I realize I haven't been doing the voices tonight because everything's been so negative.
Yeah, let's brighten it up. Let's go.
Let's brighten it up a bit, folks. Let's make Canada great again. While we're at it, Carson El Gringo Grande gifting 10 unacceptable Fringe memberships to the Patriots Club. Thank you so much for your contribution. Cowbell. Who's calling for cowbell? You guys need cowbell.
Guess what? I got a fever. And the only prescription is more cowbell.
I mean, when I look at the current country and the landscape that we have, Deadpool said it best. It's like Pinocchio just shoved his nose up my ass and started lying repeatedly. That's what we're up for in the next couple of months. I mean, things got to change.
I don't know where you come up with these analogies.
Things got to change.
Really? Do you have a list of them somewhere?
Guess what?
Guess what?
I got a fever. And the only prescription is more cowbell.
No.
How? Guys, sometimes when you're hanging around, politicians coming to your door asking for you to vote, it's important to call them out. Say, guys, you're not getting my vote unless you're going to reform the electoral system. Because right now, it's crazy. Mark Carney is going to destroy our country. He's an asshole. He's crazy.
Oh, my goodness.
How? Term limits. I see it right there. True saying term limits. I want term limits too.
Yeah.
Cock of the walk, baby. I saw it. Who said it?
There you go.
There it is. Rachel saying, I love walking. He's great. He's crazy. Miss Fringe doesn't like walking so much. Sometimes when we're by ourselves, getting a little crazy in the bedroom.
No, you don't.
And I go, how? She kicks me out.
Yes.
Tells me I'm going to be hiding things up my ass for quite some time because I'm not getting any more action talking like walking. How?
Starting tonight.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Yeah. Sleeping on the couch.
No love for walking. Cock of the walk, baby. God. Oh. I love doing those voices.
It's amazing you're still married sometimes.
I sometimes wonder how.
Me too.
But
good Lord.
I sometimes wonder how. But on that note, ladies and gents, dark times are over. I'm not gonna sit here and preach anymore. I'm glad.
Sunny ways. No, I'm just joking.
Give a big Ric Flair. Woo!
Oh my goodness.
Let's There's Dirk saying, you make me laugh. I love it.
Good.
There you go. CB saying, hey, you know what really grinds my gears? Justin Trudeau. Fuck you, Justin Trudeau.
I think he grinds everybody's gears.
God, he really grinds my gears. Mike Freedom Honey, I love that people need to be told to shop local. The sheep really do need to be told what to do. Join a militia. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Mike Freedom Honey giving me my membership to Beaver County Militia this week. I am a proud member of the militia. We got to get moving. We got to get motivated. Let's. Why, oh, why can you not love the walk-in, says Jim.
It just sends shivers up my back.
Come on.
No.
Tiffany.
No. No.
You know you
No.
love walking.
I don't.
Come on.
I'm going to stick a finger somewhere and you're not going to like it.
You're crazy. It's not good. Sometimes I'm walking around my house.
Oh my God.
Mrs. Fringe doesn't know I'm talking, but tomorrow is the Canadian flag's birthday of 60 years. That was another thing that bugged me this week was Pierre saying, wave your flags, everybody, like never before. How about get out and punch a liberal in the face?
Yes.
How about that instead?
I'm in on that.
That would be better. What did everybody do for Valentine's Day? You can't tell me that all these 800 and some odd viewers are just hanging around.
This is the best Valentine's Day because we get to spend it with our amazing community. That's the best Valentine's Day.
Coin designer saying, careful there, it's Valentine's.
She's going to be walking out.
Oh, she's going to be walking out. She's going to take my cowbell.
Yes. Good Lord.
What did people do? Somebody, Ingrid said I worked. There you go.
Oh, my kids have been fighting all day. I can still hear them up there.
This is just for entertainment purposes. There you go. I made chocolate covered strawberries. Ooh. There you go. Some people did that. Rachel has a date with us. That's listen, that's only Fringe. You got to pay extra for that. And
that starts at 9.
Guess what?
No.
I got a fever. Should I take my F. Trudeau flag down tomorrow? No, in fact, you should be waving those ones with the Canadian flag.
Yes.
MJW with $5 super chat. If we were the 51st state people, how would healthcare work?
Oh, that's the big thing.
Here's the thing. People, when you factor in health insurance in the United States, to my understanding, because again, I've never lived in the United States, but when you take the less income tax and you have health insurance, it basically evens out. Depending on what you need done, unless you've got like cancer or something.
Then you move to Mexico.
I don't know the ins and outs.
Somewhere.
Kelly's saying my husband made a fish dinner for me with fancy chocolates. There you go.
Nice.
There you go.
Passed a weld test today.
A weld test. There you go, to bring Canada more oil.
Love it.
Ontario pipeliner. Well, you might not be doing it in Ontario.
Well, congratulations.
But congratulations. Great to see that. Let's see.
Date night with us. That is the best date. Really.
Jacques chiming in. Derek, you're a funny guy. I love it. You should be a comedian.
He tried.
I tried that actually. I tried that in my 20s. I always wanted to be a stand-up comic.
Yeah.
I tried my best Jerry Seinfeld, going on stage saying, why?
No, you didn't.
Why do people ride buses? Who are these people? And where do they get the money for spare change? But it just didn't work out. Stand-up comedy, it's very difficult.
You're much better at this.
It's very difficult. JD's drinking beer with my boys, Thor and Loki, watching you live. My God, I need a life. No, you don't. You've got the best life. You're living your best life if you're here.
Right?
We'll do some Q&A. One thing before we get into Q&A, a lot of people, a lot of guys, I'll stop with the walk-in.
Yes. You do like being married, so.
People said, what about your proposal story on Valentine's Day? And I thought that'd be a fun little story to tell because a lot of people.
We'll leave out the bad parts.
So I met Tiffany in high school, and I've talked to great extent about that we were together, we split and stayed friends for multiple years, and then got back together and got married. But when we were in high school, our first technical date.
No, the first time I actually accepted.
I asked Tiffany a few times to make it official. She said no. She knew I was trouble. But we went out, and we were out with some friends of mine, and my buddy had this Ford Tempo, this really crappy Ford Tempo. And he decided to go driving through this field because he thought we could go off-roading in his car.
16-year-olds do.
16-year-olds tend to make stupid decisions. And we got stuck in the mud. And Tiffany the first time I took her, now keep in mind, I just met her mother for the first time. And her mom said she better be home on time or there's going to be trouble. We got stuck in the mud and Tiffany had to call her mom. Now, this is the late 90s.
She still to this day does not believe we got stuck in the mud.
She had to call her mom on a cell phone where it was like $500 a minute to call somebody. And we kept calling periodically just to update because we were stuck in the mud. And eventually my friend's dad came in his Jeep and pulled us out. We got out. Tiffany got home late, very late from when we originally agreed she would be home. I can't remember what time it was, but when we got back together, I knew from the minute I met Tiffany, I'm going to marry this woman. I'm going to be with this woman forever. So when we got back together after we moved in together, I knew what I was going to do. And when I proposed, I took her back to that spot, which had coincidentally been developed.
Middle of a community now.
It had been developed into houses. So I technically proposed to Tiffany in the middle of a street that was the same spot where we got stuck in the car. And that was when we got married. In fact, I told my family I was going to propose the week prior when we went to my cousin's wedding in Moose Jaw. And they knew it was coming. My mom was over the moon. My mom never liked any of my girlfriends except for Tiffany. She absolutely
always compared them to me.
Loved it. In fact, there was a girlfriend when you and I weren't together.
Yes.
Where my mom got very drunk on a Christmas because she did not like this girl. And this girl did not like Tiffany. She didn't like that Tiffany and I remained friends. And my mom got really drunk at the table at Christmas and this is
a woman that never swears.
She's the
sweetest person,
most
in the
polite
world.
woman on the planet, never hurts a fly. And she just stared this girl down and said, you'll never be like her. And she said, excuse me. And my mom says, you'll never be like Tiffany. You'll never be able to replace her. And then she looked at me and said, why can't you just get back together with her? Why can't you just be with her? And I kept saying, well, she's kind of dating somebody. And I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm sitting here with my current girlfriend.
That you also live with.
It was
It was great. Not awkward at all.
very awkward Christmas, but my mom was over the moon. That's our proposal story. That's how we got in. Drop your Q&As in the chat, folks. Let's get your Q&As in, and then we'll wrap up. We'll wrap up the stream for tonight. Was there ever a good Ford Tempo, says Reg? I don't know. I don't know. I'm not really a fan of Ford unless it's a truck. Raging Against the Machine, petitions don't do shit. Alberta First flag party.
Yep.
Oh, Alberta First Party, LFG. There you go. I thought it said flag party. I don't know why I saw flag in there.
I clearly didn't correct you. I wasn't looking at it properly.
What is your favorite Trudeau fail?
When he falls, I know it's not a fail and I know it was planned, but when he falls down the stairs, I could watch that on repeat over and over and over again.
I'd have to say it's either the drink box water bottle sort of things or people kind. We like to say people kind around here. That was a funny one. Saved by Grace being a member for 2 months. Thank you so much. What do you think are Nenshit's chances of winning the provincial election in 2026? It's funny. We were talking to somebody outside of Jordan Peterson's
such a joke
event about this because we were saying that when you look at the ridings, and I've talked about this before, that I understand Danielle has gained ground since then. But ultimately, throughout Alberta, it's decided much like the bogus ways that the federal government elections are decided. The main cities, Edmonton and Calgary, decide who's going to be the next premier, aside from the rural vote. When you look at Calgary's very thin margins that Danielle won by, like we're talking a couple hundred votes in each riding that she just got over against Rachel Notley. When you look at Nenshi, who still has a lot of people in Calgary that support him, particularly the Muslim vote, I'm not sure. I really hope that people understand what it could mean for Alberta if Nenshi were to get in. I would like to say that I think Danielle's got it, but like any election, you can't call it till it's election night. It's tough to say. How much time did you get to talk to Peterson one-on-one? I'd say a good, 20, 25 minutes?
Yeah.
About that, maybe closer to a half hour.
Yeah, so he had backstage for people who had bought backstage passes, but we got
friends and family.
So we got to chat with him before he went to the
so
backstage people.
at the end of the show, there's the VIPs that pay to see Peterson after the show.
Yeah.
They were kept behind a guardrail. Friends and family get to go straight into the back behind the stage.
And there was a lot more in the last show. Actually, he had just one other family and us.
Yeah.
Honestly.
So we got a fair amount of time with him. It was really nice. I talked with him about Mar-a-Lago, and I talked to him about what was the discussions about Alberta. And unfortunately, Peterson said, I'm not going to say things Danielle might or might not have said, and I understand why he wasn't going to do that. He said, you'll have to ask her yourself. So believe that the next time I have Danielle on the channel, which hopefully will be soon, we will be asking those questions. But Peterson gives those little hints and nudges where I definitely think there were some conversations. Again, that's the impression I get. I'm not speaking on his behalf. But great guy. You know what I love about Jordan Peterson is that when you see him speaking and when you see him around people, he's very stoic and he's very firm on how he talks and aggressive. But one thing his brother touched on when he was introducing him to the show was that there's nothing he wouldn't do to help somebody out.
No.
And when you go backstage after the show and you see him meeting with people, he's hugging everybody and shaking hands, smiling. He's happy. He treats everybody like a long lost friend, where you haven't missed a beat.
And he knows every detail of the last time you guys talked, or it's amazing that he remembers all of that stuff, especially on how many people he meets.
He's an amazing man. Now, I spoke to him about coming on the channel. I said, I'd love to have you on. He said, now the first time I ever met with him when I was with Tamara, I jokingly said, you should come on my channel. And he said, sure. And I said, wait, what? Like at that time, I think this channel was only 10,000 subscribers or something.
Right?
Like it wasn't a very large channel. And I thought, oh man, there's my golden ticket. Unfortunately, though, since Peterson signed with the Daily Wire, he's extremely busy. He's got certain contractual lockdowns.
Go through his people.
And he said to me, I want to come on the channel, but he said, you'll have to get through the thorny ends of my agents. And if you can do that and convince them, he says, I will happily come on the channel. So hopefully I will be persistent and I will still try to get Jordan on the channel. Great guy.
We have not listed our house yet, Debbie. We are hoping to get that done next week.
So part of the reason the arcades have changed in the background, we're shifting things around. The house is listing next Sunday. So a week Sunday, the house will be back on the market, and we're hopefully on our way to Spruce Grove soon. Meh Bernard, what's Mrs. Fringe doing lately that she looks so much younger?
Nothing?
She's married to me.
That does not make me younger. That
I keep her so youthful.
Yeah.
So youthful. Chris saying, what's your favorite arcade game?
Oh, me?
Yeah, why not? What's your favorite arcade game?
The GameCube Legend of Zelda.
That's not an arcade game.
Oh, an arcade game?
That shows you what she knows.
Bubble Bobble? What's that one?
Yeah, Bubble Bobble.
Yeah.
You like
it called?
Puzzle Bobble.
Puzzle Bobble.
Puzzle Bobble. For me, it's Donkey Kong, hands down. First arcade game I ever played was Donkey Kong. I always stand behind Donkey Kong. Let me see here. Trying to find another question. Sorry, guys. I'm getting caught up in the chat. Sure, was a commie $2 super chat. The boxer that punched him in the face was his favorite fail moment. I'd agree. That's a good one too. The problem is there's so many.
I don't think I've seen that.
It's like having a bunch of children. Which one's your favorite? Like you just can't decide.
There was a boxer that punched him in the face.
Yeah, he used to box.
We got to pull that up.
Oh, it's been out there.
I need to see this.
That is really cool that you got that much time with him. Look, I've known Dr. Peterson for a couple of years now. And we exchange emails, we chat.
Yep. He called you up at Christmas.
He called up
was
at
it
Christmas
or after New Year's? New Year's.
Just after New Year's.
Yeah.
Sorry, it was just after New Year's. We keep in touch. He's always interested in the books that we put out. Again, he had our newest one to have signed when we went in there. I will say right now that in any time when I've asked for advice, he's been very helpful. He's been a very generous person with his time, his compassion, his general quest to understand the human condition is truly remarkable.
It's amazing watching his mind work. Like when he starts his discussions and stuff like that, like when he does his show, he has a thought in his head. He doesn't really know what he's going to talk about. He works it as he goes through the show. It is just amazing.
It's kind of like painting a picture.
Yeah.
Right? It's he does a fantastic job. But the one thing I appreciate about Dr. Peterson is that he's very passionate. He's not afraid to cry. He gets very emotional about the things that he's passionate about. And I like seeing that because some people say it's a sign of weakness. I say it's a sign of humanity.
He's
It shows
just so real, which is just amazing.
it shows that he truly cares. And I can tell you right now that out of all the friends I've made since things have started up, as I said at the beginning of the show, definitely one of my favorite people that I've met to this day. He's absolutely fantastic, and he's a great friend. And yeah, hopefully we maintain that friendship for years to come.
Adventure of Wondering.
What's going on with the Alberta healthcare corruption allegations? I saw Nenshi speak, and I kept hearing you in my mind. So it's a witch hunt. It's what they're doing right now, what the NDP are doing, and again, you have to remember that Nenshi's the same as Mark Carney. He doesn't have a seat. He's just a loudmouth. He's just looking for a reason to get an election called, because statistically it's saying right now that with the whole Trump thing, and this is where we talked about Mark Carney earlier, that Nenshi would have an edge in Alberta slamming Donald Trump with the woke morons in Edmonton. And I'm sorry for anybody who lives in Edmonton, but you can agree demographically that Edmonton is an NDP leaning city. Yep. More votes and union votes would be coming for Nenshi there, as well as in Calgary, because Calgary announced this week that part of the Calgary Education Board is going on strike next week as a result of the poor practices through QP, which is also tied to the NDP as well, through Rachel Notley's husband. So I think what Nenshi sees is the writing on the wall to call an election. So it's essentially just a fabricated witch hunt to make Danielle look bad so that they can push for people to call an election and at the very least villainize her. I don't buy a single iota of what's going on. Good question, though.
Do you think they killed each other? It got really loud and then it got really quiet.
Max is the only politician that attended Jordan's support rally in front of the psych college. Max is very pro-Canada and rights. He is, but he needs to get a seat. And it's not people going, oh, you're one of those guys. What can he do if he doesn't have a seat?
Yeah.
Right? Max needs to get a seat. He's got to figure out what he's doing. He's got to run somewhere where he knows he can get that and at least have party status. Like, I like Max's ideas. I've said it before. I know Max. I met him in the airport and he knew who I was. We had a chat before we each separated to board our flights. Really nice guy.
That was the same day you got spit on.
That is the day. No, I got spat on in Ottawa. Okay. This was in Winnipeg.
That's right.
Because somebody thought I was a trucker because I was wearing an unacceptable Fringe hoodie. Max is a great guy. And I do like a lot of his policies, but the problem is that I just can't take it serious until he's got a seat. And I've told him that. And a lot of people saying, oh, if you know Max, have him on the show. Well, he's asked to be on the show. It's again scheduling, and until there's something to talk about,
yeah,
I just don't really bring him on. But Max is a nice guy. I got no problem with Max. Give us the link to the MPs. Oh my goodness, I don't have that on hand. If you go back to that video that we put out about 2 weeks ago,
the link is in the description.
The links are in those descriptions. I apologize. I don't really keep I don't keep a list next to me while I'm streaming.
Not all Ontarians are
no,
woke.
Art, and I've said this. I said this earlier. Toronto is a statistically woke city. There are woke suburbs around Toronto that typically influence the votes when it comes to the federal leadership race.
But we're not saying everybody.
Like I said,
of course everybody's
there are
not.
good people in every province,
Yes.
and I'm certainly never bashing. No. Anytime I say woke Ontario, I'm talking about the actual woke. I'm not talking about every single person.
Absolutely not.
But thank you for speaking up. Dustin Ellis, $2 super chat. Did you know Wob Canoe is the next Jack Layton? I've heard that. I don't know about that. I don't like that he's been arrested multiple times for domestic abuse. I don't like that he's got anger issues. I don't really back Wob Canoe. I don't like him. Derek, you have a Chevy Silverado truck. Will Tiffany let you have one? I don't have.
I'm not really one to
truck.
let you have things. I mean, you're a person that makes your own mind.
Yeah, Tiffany lets me have whatever I want. It's not a matter, and she can do the same.
As
long as we can afford it and it's necessary.
Exactly.
But, I'd love to get a truck. The problem is I'm a short guy, and it looks silly with a guy getting in a truck when he's
I want a truck.
Tiffany wants a truck, but I said you can't be the wife with a truck while the husband drives an SUV.
I want a truck.
That's like Justin Trudeau level cucking. I can't do that. That's,
metallic purple.
There we go. Do you think that contacting our MPs to get some
I mean, it doesn't hurt.
action happening? We should be all the time.
Yeah.
I said it with that video with the list.
They're there for.
Get that list out, email every single day. Just resend. Flood their emails.
Yeah.
Flood their emails. And start telling them you're not getting my vote unless you start doing something.
What usually ages a woman? That.
Albertans would get $1.5K annually, just like Alaskans get annually for being a resident, and it's oil. What does Alberta get from our federal government? A swift kick in the nuts and told to go away. I don't
Shut
know
up
where.
and take it.
I don't know where you're getting the 1.5K from, but if that's the case, I mean, look, I've said a million times over, Albertans have, at least myself as an Albertan, if we were allowed to get our products to market, if we were allowed to build pipelines, if we were allowed to do LNG deals worth trillions of dollars, I have no issues with Canadians being Canadian and sharing that prosperity with the rest of the country.
Yeah.
The problem is you have one province that doesn't want to be a province.
We're being stopped from being able to do that.
Tries to control everything.
They still want the money, so
can't do it.
Pierogies or tacos? Tacos. Taco.
Ever thought of doing a game stream, YouTube or Twitch? I streamed on Twitch for
years.
4 years before getting onto YouTube. I used to do retro streams on there.
And I think the most viewers we had was like 10.
People said they wanted a retro stream on here, or like a game stream. Maybe at some point we'll do that. We'll introduce that. But the problem is that there's people who want it, and then there's people who come in here and go, "Hey, trained monkey, I don't come here to watch you play video games. I want to hear you talk politics." Well, there's nothing wrong with having some fun once in a while, is there? I need to get that framed and on the wall in our bedroom.
No.
So that you realize every time you go in there that I am a legend. That is a fantastic comment. Lauren, younger.
I don't think my eyes could roll big enough for that.
What is your favorite Pierre Poilievre moment? I'm going to tell you right now. I used to have it in my intro when he said, "Just a figure, please." How much money did you get from the We Charity scandal?
Just a number, any number.
Any number. That's probably by far one of my favorites. Fringe and Dr. Jordan Peterson, best friends. I wouldn't say best friends. We're definitely colleagues. We're acquaintances. I consider him a friend. He says the same, but we're not like bum chums like Jugmeat and Justin.
No.
Is the house in Spruce Grove you wanted still by available? No, it's sold, unfortunately. But there's like 5 other houses on our watch list that have the same floor plan. So it's still available. There are some good ones available that we've seen.
We will see.
Again, we have to sell the house first.
Oh, she might die.
Oh, it sounds like my daughter's murdering somebody. That's okay. As long as she hides the body. Let's see if we can find another. Are you going to live stream the PP rally tomorrow? No, because it's all going to be filibuster. I don't. It's just going to be more slogans and anti-Trump. It's, you know what it is? I'd just be frustrated if I did.
Yeah.
And I think that everybody watching it would be frustrated as well. If you want to see idol worship, maybe the pleb will be streaming it, and he'll have AI generated pictures of Pierre Poilievre with his shirt off and muscular. I don't know. I don't get that obsession with Pierre. I like Pierre, but I don't see the point in worshiping politicians. They're politicians. Again, I've had dinner with the man. He's a nice guy, but I don't trust any politician, including Danielle Smith. I praise them when they deserve it. I vote for them when they've earned it, and I call them out when they screw up. That's what every Canadian should do with their politicians. How do you not get angry at how stupid the Liberals are not seeing how corrupt Trudeau is? They do see it.
Oh, of course they see it.
They all see it. It's... Yeah. I don't even know what else to say besides that. It's... Hang on. I'm going to do my whole scroll here because I got to get caught up. I know you hate it. I know
it makes me sick.
Oh, there's Dustin Ellis, a $2 super chat. Why are you so against union people? I'm not against the people that are in unions, because those people have to be in unions. It's the unions themselves. The representatives of the unions, they destroy businesses. They don't care about what's beneficial to the employees. They care about what's beneficial to their pockets.
Oh, no.
It's bureaucracy. They're tied into politicians again. It has nothing to do with we're here to fight for people's rights, or we're here to fight for better wages. They say that they are, but really behind closed doors, it's just special interest. It's sometimes government influence that comes in and says, hey, go kick up some dirt over here. Go put a stopper in there. Again, when you look at what happened with Canada Post, holding us all hostage during the holidays, like, I can tell you right now, if you think Canada Post's reputation wasn't demolished this year, this last Christmas season.
See, it says TIFF, buy the truck. The bank said no.
No, the bank wants us to take on less debt while we're buying house. I'll tell you what, if you guys want to crowdfund Mrs. Fringe to get her own truck, I've never asked anybody to give a dime, but if you guys want to crowdfund for Miss Fringe to get a truck and put me to shame, you guys go right ahead. But we are not to spend any more money or accumulate any more debt. That's not me asking for you to spend money for her to get a truck.
No.
I'm joking, of course. I'm saying that's about the only way she's going to get it at this point. Maybe when we move, maybe once.
Oh, you know it's never going to happen, because you even said how you just can't.
Mrs. Fringe, when we move, is getting the SUV. First off, Mrs. Fringe didn't get her license until a couple of years ago.
Okay,
so,
like 4 years ago, 4.5.
During the pandemic. So Mrs. Fringe has never had full-on insurance. So Mrs. Fringe will not be getting a truck because I can't afford the cost of her insurance being more than a car payment. Second of all, I've already told her she will get our Acadia when...
because he gets his Camaro, but
the Acadia is brand new.
Metallic purple truck.
The Acadia is brand new. I'm getting my Camaro. That's happening. When we move, I'm getting my Camaro.
And then in 10 years, I'll get a truck.
John's saying, which truck does Miss Fringe want? It'd be a Ford F-150.
Yes, I was thinking the same thing.
Get her the Cybertruck. There you go.
No.
Yes, because she said she wouldn't drive it. Then technically you guys are getting me a truck.
No.
I would happily drive and support Elon.
I would support. It's so ugly.
What year Camaro? Probably like a 2015, 2016, somewhere around there.
See what we can afford.
I'm not
honestly.
The problem with Camaros is that they depreciate too fast. That there's no point in spending $60,000 on a brand new Camaro. I'll just buy a used one with I'll buy a used one with like 40, 50K on it or whatever. It's No, he did. He was talking to a reporter when he said that. I love that that's what the media is drumming up. He was talking to a reporter that was off to the side of the desk. He wasn't talking to Trump. I like the Camaro SS better. I like the SS series. What's your favorite automotive company?
I don't know.
Look, if I have to go by politics, it's Tesla. Just because I love Elon, it has nothing to do with electric cars. If you're gonna go automotive brand, no, I want good old American muscle. I want GM, Chev.
I am quite happy. Like, we've had GMC for a while, and I do quite like them.
We drove a Dodge for a couple of years. No problems with Dodge aside from I don't like their
have
interiors.
A lot of pickup.
They're kind of like, unless you get a Hemi in something, and then when you get over to like the import cars, again, they're nice. Hondas are nice. Not the Honda Odyssey. That's a Deadpool joke. I used to work for Mazda back in the day. I worked for Infiniti. I liked their cars as well. Like, I like just about any car depending on what I'm in the mood to buy. But if you go by my favorite, it's always Chev and GM. There it is. Too bad you don't needle dick. I love that joke. 67 Camaro T-boned by a 74 Riviera. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I had a guy willing.
Yeah, yours was.
I had a guy willing to sell me a 69 SS a few years ago for just under $30,000, and it was pristine. I really wanted it. Just didn't have the funds.
The bank said no.
And I always said if I was going to spend $30,000 on a classic car, I'd probably buy a DeLorean. I'd buy a DeLorean just to make it look like the time machine. Yes. Hell yeah. That would be my jam. That being said, ladies and gentlemen, we're approaching the 2-hour mark. I'm going to start winding it down. My kids are upstairs mauling each other, and it's also Valentine's Day. Luckily, tomorrow night I'm taking Mrs. Fringe out for dinner. So not tonight. We're going to do it tomorrow when it's less busy. Although we did take the kids out for dinner tonight because they're going to the babysitters. They're going to Grandpa's tomorrow. So it was a good time to get them out. So technically we had dinner tonight, but dinner tomorrow. That'll be fun, just the two of us. I want to thank everybody who super chatted tonight and contributed on stream. Blah, 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 blah. Jody Peterson, North 49 RC, Matt and Andrea, Carson, El Gringo Grande, Gwen Avery, Trudeau Zakami, Mike St. John, Atsuki Link, Mad Dog Tradesman, Reg Porter. I think I said Gwen Avery. If I didn't, my bad. Nilok, Sherry Bailey, Jody Peterson again, Lee D, Mike Freedom Honey, MJW, Saved by Grace, Dustin Ellis. Thank you to everyone for your super chats tonight, your memberships, your kind comments. Really appreciate each and every one of you. Keep your eyes peeled this weekend. I will be dropping content as much as possible, as well as going into next week. Join me next Wednesday. I will do a Wednesday night live stream. Maybe we start making Wednesdays a regular night as well for Unhinged Fringe. I was supposed to have Jasmine Lane on the show next Wednesday to sit down. Unfortunately, something came up in her schedule. She's going to have to reschedule to come on the channel. So unfortunately, Jasmine Lane will not be joining me on Wednesday. Maybe I'll try and book another guest. We'll see. But join me Wednesday night.
No, I'm just joking.
Join me Wednesday night, same time, same channel, 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central here on the channel. And then again, Friday next week for another live stream for Friday Night Fringe, our regular live stream. I hope you guys have a great weekend. I hope you have a great Valentine's Day. Keep your sticks on the ice, ladies and gentlemen. Look after each other.
And have a great long weekend. Family Day's coming on Monday.
Yep.
So
enjoy your long weekend.
Enjoy that.
Stay inside, stay warm. Look after each other, ladies and gents.